Our first scripture reading is from the book of Hebrews, 2nd chapter, verses 10 through 18. It was fitting that God, for whom and through whom all things exist, in bringing many children to glory, should make the power of their salvation perfect through sufferings. For the one who sanctifies and those who are sanctified all have one Father. For this reason, Jesus is not ashamed to call them brothers and sisters. And really what it's saying there is that one family, that you and I are the brothers and sisters of Jesus. Saying, I will proclaim your name to my brothers and sisters. In the midst of the congregation, I will praise you. And again, I will put my trust in him. And again, here am I in the children whom God has given me. Since therefore the children share flesh and blood, he himself likewise shared the same things, so that through death he might destroy the one who has the power of death, that is, the devil, and free those who all their lives were held in slavery by the fear of death. For it is clear that he did not come to help angels, but the descendants of Abraham. Therefore he had to become like his brothers and sisters in every respect, so that he might be a merciful and faithful high priest in the service of God, to make a sacrifice for the atonement for the sins of the people. Because he himself was tested by what he suffered, he is able to help those who are being tested. This is the word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
The gospel reading this morning is the story of the visit of the wise men. As Epiphany happens this coming week on the 6th, which is traditionally the 12th day of Christmas, and oftentimes is considered the time when the wise men came. From the story itself and what happens, we have to realize that they probably got there 2 or 3 years after the birth of Jesus. Because you remember that all the children were killed who were 2 years or younger because of that. And so, let's hear this word. In the time of King Herod, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, asking, where is the child who has been born King of the Jews? For we observed his star at its rising and have come to pay him homage. When King Herod heard this, he was frightened, and all Jerusalem with him. And calling together all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Messiah was to be born. They told him, in Bethlehem of Judea, for so it has been written by the prophet. And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah, for from you shall come a ruler who is to shepherd my people Israel. Then Herod secretly called for the wise men and learned from them the exact time when the star had appeared. Then he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, go and search diligently for the child. And when you have found him, bring me word so that I may also go and pay him homage. When they had heard the king, they set out. And there ahead of them went the star that they had seen at its rising, until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw that the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy. On entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they knelt down and paid him homage. Then opening their treasure chest, they offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they left for their own country by another road. Now after they had left, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, and and said, "Get up, take the child and his mother, and flee to Egypt and remain there until I tell you. For Herod is about to search for the child to destroy him." Then Joseph got up, took the child and his mother by night, and went to Egypt, and remained there until the death of Herod. This was to fulfill what had been spoken by the Lord through the prophet, "Out of Egypt have I called my son." When Herod saw that he had been tricked by the wise men, he was infuriated, and he sent and killed all the children in and around Bethlehem who were about 2 years old or under, according to the time that he had learned from the wise men. Then was fulfilled what had been spoken through the prophet Jeremiah. A voice was heard in Ramah, wailing and loud lamentation, Rachel weeping for her children. She refused to be consoled, because they are no more. When Herod died, an angel of the Lord suddenly appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt and said, "Get up and take the child and his mother and go to the land of Israel, for those who are seeking the child's life are dead." Then Joseph got up and took the child and his mother and went to the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus was ruling over Judea in place of his father Herod, he was afraid to go there. And after being warned in a dream, he went away to the district of Galilee, and there he made his home in a town called Nazareth, so that what had been spoken through the prophets might be fulfilled. He will be called a Nazarene. The word of God for all the people.
Thanks be to God.
See? It was too cloudy up in Nottingham last night, but I don't know whether down here it was clear. Supposed to have been able to see a comet in the west at 6:30 last night. But it probably wasn't much clearer down here at that time than Nottingham. I always remember a number of years ago when my mom was visiting us a few decades ago when I was in South Walpole, New Hampshire. And that morning we had woken early. I have a knack to do that on Christmas Day because I want to be sure the kids get up. But we didn't have any kids then, so I don't know what my excuse was. But my mom and I were up in a way, and it must have been the Venus, the evening star that was, or morning star, whatever planet, that was across the sky and so beautiful. And we thought of this, the Star of Wonder, Star of Light. May we be in a moment of prayer together. God, may your blessing be with us as we share. May the words of my lips and the meditations of all of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight. You who are our rock and our Redeemer. Amen.
Amen.
Leonard Sweet, who's a former dean of a seminary, wrote a few years ago about wrapping presents. And he said, I missed the class that taught not only how to wrap presents, but the larger issue of why presents need to be wrapped. Columnist Dave Barry thinks that this may be a male thing. It's now my favorite Dave Barry column he writes. And then this is the time of the year when we think back to the very first Christmas, when the wise men went to see the baby Jesus, and according to the book of Matthew, presented unto him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. These are simple words, but if we analyze them carefully, we discover an important yet often overlooked theological fact. There is no mention of wrapping paper. If there had been wrapping paper, Matthew would have said so with something like these words. And lo, the gifts were inside 600 square cubits of paper. And the paper was festooned with pictures of Frosty the Snowman. And Joseph was going to throweth it away, but Mary saith unto him, she saith, hold it, that is nice paper, saveth it for next year. And Joseph did rolleth his eyeballs. And the baby Jesus was more interested in the paper than, for example, the frankincense. But these words do not appear in the Bible, which means that on the very first Christmas gifts were not wrapped. That is because the people giving those gifts had two important characteristics. They were wise. They were men. Men are not big gift wrappers. Men do not understand the point of putting paper on a gift just so somebody else can tear it off. This is not just my opinion, Leonard Sweet writes. This is a scientific fact based on a statistical survey of two guys I know. One is my son Rob, who said the only time he ever wraps a gift is if it's such a poor gift that I don't want to be there when the person opens it. The other is my friend Gene Weingarten, who told me he does wrap gifts, but as a matter of principle, never takes more than 15 seconds for a gift. No one ever had to wonder which presents Daddy wrapped under the tree, he said. They were the ones that looked like enormous spitballs. I also wrap gifts, Leonard Sweet says, but because of some defect in my motor skills, I can never completely wrap them. I can take a gift the size of a deck of cards and put it in the exact center on a piece of wrapping paper the size of a regulation volleyball court. But when I am done folding and taping, you still can see a part of that gift peeking out. Sometimes I camouflage this sector with a marking pen. If I had been an ancient Egyptian in the field of mummies, the lower half of the pharaoh's body would be covered only by Scotch tape. On the other hand, if you give my wife a 12-inch square of wrapping paper, she can wrap a C-130 cargo plane. My wife, like many women, enjoys wrapping gifts. If she gives a gift that requires batteries, she wraps the batteries besides, which to Rise is very close to being a symptom of mental illness in my way. If it were possible, my wife would wrap each individual vote. My point is that gift wrapping is not one of the men's skills. Well, there is a gift given to us at Christmas, and a gift which keeps on living. Jesus. When they tried to get him out of the way, rose from the dead and lives among us in many, many ways. And we're his brothers and his sisters. And this gift is one to keep with us all through this coming year. But we really can't keep Jesus. But we can follow him. That's how we keep him, is we follow him. And he leads us in different ways. Someone asked me the other night, after we had our candlelight service, and we were leaving, one of the persons said, whatever happened to Pedro and the homeless woman? And I said, well, that's the rest of the story. You'll have to come back. And on the drive up, as we dodged ice patches and everything. Laura said, what did happen to Pedro and the homeless woman? And I wondered about that too. And those of you who weren't able to be here Christmas Eve, you missed a marvelous story. No. There was in a nutshell, when a gift was given by a little boy who was the brother of Pedro. Pedro had stopped in the snowbank on a cold night and seen a homeless person and kept her as warm as he could. His brother went on, and when he presented his gift, the chimes began to ring and the bells rang, something they'd waited centuries and centuries for. But the way it happened was the little boy was down here, and the priest came down. And the priest said to him, you have presented a very special gift. The chimes are ringing like they've never rung, centuries. And the little boy said, well, I'm only here because my brother Pedro is keeping a homeless woman warm in the snow. You may remember in the story, Pedro said to his brother, don't forget where I am, and be sure to tell somebody. And so the priest kept the people there in the great temple. And he said to the boy, he said, where is your brother Pedro? And he said, well, I came in, and remember, this temple was huge. It's like almost you couldn't see the front from the back practically. And he said, well, I came in one of the doors. Which, I don't know which door it was. And the little boy's confused. And the priest said, we all are going to go out looking for this homeless woman and Pedro this night. I hope you are dressed warm. And if you can't do it, pray. But if you can, let us go. And so the people scattered in all directions. And they'd come upon somebody who was hurting. When they helped that hurting person, whether they were homeless, whether they were cold, whatever it was, the bell rang even sweeter. And they would hear somewhere else. Somebody else was helping, and the bell would ring even sweeter. Almost like in the Hunger Games, if you've ever seen those, when somebody was killed, the bell or the light would go off. And every time there was a good deed, every time somebody was doing something that reached out and touched somebody, it made the bell ring. And sweeter each time. It was as if they were ministering to Jesus himself. As Matthew says, Jesus told us, when I was hungry and you fed me, when I was naked and you clothed me, when I was sick and you visited me, when I was in prison you came to see me. It was as if every time they reached out to touch somebody, the chimes would ring. Finally, one of them came upon Pedro. And the woman. Pedro had frozen to death, caring for the woman. But in that community, they never stopped reaching out. For they realized a little boy had taught them a holy lesson. He had given his life to help someone. And they realized something that years later, in which I quoted this week actually, in the midweek thing, that the work of Christmas doesn't end on Christmas Day. Quoting Howard Thurman, when the star in the sky is gone, when the kings and princes are home, when the shepherds are back with their flocks, the work of Christmas begins. To find the lost, to heal the broken, to feed the hungry, to release the prisoner, to teach the nations, to bring Christ to all, to make music in the heart. Jesus gives us music in the heart when we follow him. I don't hear bells go off every time I seek to do good deeds. But I don't. But I know there is a bell within me. A bell of warmth, a bell of love. And I believe it's the bell of Jesus Christ within me when I do that which is right and which God wants me to do. And I pray the same for you. Maybe share now.